Hi everyone, I just want to invite you to come hang out with me on twitch.tv/thatneilj, where you can watch these openings happen live. Sometimes I'll open up my lobbies to do hunts with viewers, and you can even choose which weapon I'm going to go to each hunt with. Thanks. As per usual, we are going to open up all of our talismans that I have melded. We're going to talk about the stuff. Talk about the skills we get, which ones I think are good or bad. Just our normal talisman opening. Here we go. Okay. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say I feel like this is less red. It might not be. Maybe I'm just, because the whole top row has none, my brain is saying we have less red, but it's fine. First talisman we got today, 2 Slugger. I like Slugger a lot. Getting 2 on a talisman is good. Unfortunately, reload speed being a gunner move really doesn't combo well. Slugger, in case you forget, everybody, Slugger is the one that makes it so your KO damage deals more stun damage. So it's easier to get knockouts. Wide range Agitator. This is just a bad talisman. Both of those only being 1 pip, no slots. Not a good combo. Wide range, of course, being for support builds. Helps you support your fellow players. An Agitator gives you a damage buff, I want to say. Damage and affinity buff when monsters are in range. It's actually a very good skill when you get it up to the higher ranks. 20 attack is nothing to scoff at. 15 affinity, pretty good. But also right now, only being high rank, things don't enrage the same way that they might in a G rank, master rank situation. 2 evade extender is very good. I'm not a big fan of item prolonger. There's not as many items I feel like that it applies to in general. It'll make your buffs, there are items that can buff you and it'll make them last longer. It's situational in a way that I don't find that nice. I like the more permanent types of buffs in general. But 2 evade extender is really good. If you were looking for evade extender, this is still usable. 2 slots, level 1, pretty good. Maximum might, I want to say, is maximum stamina. Yeah, maximum stamina means you get bonus affinity. Only 1 pip of it means this isn't really usable. But there are definitely builds you can do, weapons that can really take advantage of maximum might. Steadiness, stun resist. You all know how I feel about resistances in general. Stun resist might be the most universally usable one, but once you stop really getting hit very much, you're not really getting stunned anyway, so not a big deal. I don't like stuns. Steadiness is a gunner, I think specifically bow gun. I don't think it affects bows at all, but bow gun skill, that's kind of a quality of life. It's nice, but this isn't really a usable talisman. Leap of Faith is a weird one. It is the one that lets you do your Superman dive towards monsters instead of only away from them. I don't like that skill very much, personally. And paired with Speed Eating, like, whatever, Speed Eating is actually just a piece of a support build that you want, because it lets you use items quicker. But no slots on this talisman means not really great. Diving has real long recovery? It does. Exactly. It's so situational to use Leap of Faith that you only really want to dive away from monsters, because there are certain moves it's very good for. Teostra, or not Teostra. We in fact found out Teostra doesn't really have that move anymore. Kushala Dora has a move that it is pretty useful for. But again, you're still able to dive away, so it doesn't really come up there. Protective Polish is a really cool one. It's only for weapons that are melee based because you have to sharpen them. It makes it so you will not lose sharpness for a set amount of time after sharpening. Only one pip, unfortunately, with a one slot on it means if you are really looking for protective polish, this might work, but you can do a lot better. Quick Sheath with Agitator. This is usable if you didn't already have I already have a better Quick Sheath Talisman, but Quick Sheath is great for Longsword. Agitator is a very good skill. Like, that is just a skill that will come up and is helpful. So these skills pair well if you wanted to make a Longsword build with this, but it misses slots, so it's not great. Poison Attack. I'm not big on most of the attacks. Status attacks are a little bit more valuable, but Poison Attack is a one-slot gem. One-slot decoration, so this talisman is weaker than it looks. Poison Attack on guns is nice. Reload speed, being a gunner move, is nice. There's a lot more guns that are going to have poison ammo for that to come up than weapons where you're really specifically looking for things. So Poison Attack might just be useful sometimes, and this is okay for you. But I don't really think this is very good. Constitution is a very good skill for dual blades and bow specifically. It can be used in like lance builds because it'll help you with blocking, but the fact that this has sleep resistance on it and not something else that's a little more universally useful makes this kind of meh. But the 2-slot deco spot is good. We talked about Leap of Faith. We talked about how I don't really like resistances. This is a bad talisman. Peak Performance is pretty good. It gives you a bonus based on attack bonus. Based on having full health, the better you get at this game, the more often you're going to be able to keep that going. But Leap of Faith is a crappy move, or a crappy skill in my opinion, so meh, not a good talisman. We talked about these two skills. They don't really pair together because Constitution is for bow and Steadiness is for bow guns. So, unfortunately, very bad talisman. First red of the day. Let's see what we got. Not great. Quick Sheath is good. The slots are okay, but Counter-Strike is really situational. And is a skill that I feel like you can build around if you really want to, but probably isn't worth it. Compared to a lot of the other choices you have to get bonus attacks. Like, I would take Agitator over Counter-Strike basically any day. Spare Shot 3, spread up, pierce up with Doglight Bowgun. Gonna need some Talisman luck, though, yeah. Yeah. Bombardier makes your explosive items do more, so your barrel bombs and stuff. It's so situational that I don't really like it. And Muck Resistance is a tier 1 slot that only really comes up on like 3 monsters. So this is a pretty bad talisman. Y'all know how I feel about Sleep Resist. Windproof is a nice quality of life if you really want to. It stops a lot of wind effects from affecting you in the same way. Not too many monsters use wind effects in this game. Kushala Daora obviously does, but I'm not sure if Windproof would work against it. It kind of didn't in World, so I'm not sure how that breaks down in this game. I hope it does, because it always felt really shitty that Windproof didn't really work on Kushala Daora. And you're a gunner, Nijiku, so you're never standing next to the wings when they flap. Bubbly Dance has some really cool stuff you can do with it, but you really are looking for it to be paired with Resuscitate. So this isn't a great talisman, unfortunately. We talked about Poison Attack. You could make this a Poison Attack 3, but eh. Rapid Morph and Evade Window together are very good. Evade Window is actually quite useful for most weapons. Switch Axe gets a lot out of it because it has some short hop dodges in the middle of a lot of its moves. that gives Evade Window a really big benefit to make those more useful. If this was Rapid Morph 2, for example, this would actually be a very good talisman. But unfortunately, only Rapid Morph 1 means this is kind of mediocre. Definitely usable if you don't have anything better, but not great. Recovery Up, Windproof. Recovery Up makes healing potions do more. Windproof, we talked about. Not really a great combo, unfortunately. Doesn't really have great uses, so if you really want Recovery Up, I guess it's okay. Because Windproof will stop you from getting interrupted from using your potions as much. Wide Range, Rapid Morph, not really a combo that does anything for you, unfortunately. 2 Flinch Free, 2 Bludgeoner. This is a weird one. Bludgeoner is arguably a decent skill right now because there's a fair number of weapons that are mostly green sharpness, and Bludgeoner will give you the potential bonus. Yeah, so attack power bonus goes up when your sharpness gauge is green or lower. Why doesn't it go up at level 3? That seems really weird, doesn't it? Level 2 is 5%, level 1 is 5% at yellow. Oh, I see. Level 2 is 10% at yellow, level 3 is 10% at green. So Bludgeoner 3 has potential for certain weapons, certain builds. For example, that new Sword and Shield, the Ninja Sword and Shield, can get some good use out of this. So this talisman is okay because you could get Bludgeoner 3 with it. Flinch Free 2 isn't really that useful. Flinch Free 1 is very useful for multiplayer if you're playing a melee weapon, because it'll stop your allies from flinching you in the middle of trying to do your attacks. But very, very rarely do you need it above 2. And it's a tier 1 declaration, so it's really easy to fit into basically any build. So if you're looking for a Bludgeoner build specifically, you could turn this into a Bludgeoner 3 talisman with Flinch Free on it already, which is decent, but it's pretty situational. I'm going to be right back also. I need a little bit of water. My throat is getting a little fucky. So BRB. Anyway, moving on. Affinity Sliding is a really weird skill in this game. It was actually pretty useful in Monster Hunter World, because there were a lot more zones where you could... There were a lot more zones in the fighting arenas where you could start a slide much easier than in this game. And that gives you bonus affinity. This doesn't tell you how much. I want to say it's 15%. I could be wrong. Kind of annoying that it doesn't tell you how much right here. But it's way more situational in this game, so it's harder to really look for. And load shells is a nice thing for... Load shells is good for Gun Lance and Charge Blade. Especially at level 2, because it gives you more of your shells. At least for Gun Lance, it gives you more shells. In Charge Blade, it makes it easier to fill your files. It's kind of a weird thing. But it's a very niche skill. A good one, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're playing Slap Lance doing the full bursts, Load Shells is amazing because it gives you another shell on that attack, which is just a flat damage buff, basically. But together, these don't really do much, I feel like, and no slots on the talisman makes this kind of a bleh. Evade Window, again, very good skill. Unfortunately, paired with Water Attack makes this not great unless you are specifically using a water weapon. And a tier 1 slot makes this mediocre at best. Spread up Thunder Attack 2. This is kind of unfortunate. I've been looking for a spread up. I really like spread. I would have liked the spread up to be 2. And Thunder Attack is so situational again. So, not great. You found Evade Window to be good. Evade Window is a very good skill on almost every weapon. It's just a good skill. It makes it easier to evade things. Like, it's good. But Thunder Attack is taking up a lot of value out of this talisman. So spread up 1 with no slots makes this almost good, but not quite there. Heroics and recovery speed. This is a weird combo. Heroics gives you a buff when you're low health, and recovery speed makes it so you recover your red health faster. Which could be good, but it's a weird combo because with heroics you kind of want to be at that 35%, and chances are you're not taking a lot of damage if you're at 35% without dying to get the recovery to happen. And the recovery means that if you get knocked just to 35, you might only have heroics for a couple moments before it just recovers out. So I don't feel like they combo particularly well, but I could see a weird build maybe figuring out a way to make this work. Dragon Attack, Guard Up. So Dragon Attack, we know specific elemental attacks I'm not huge on. They're really easy to slot, but they're also situational for builds in a way that I kind of am not looking for out of a talisman. Guard Up, I believe, is the one that makes it so you can block ordinarily unblockable attacks. Yeah. Guard Up is a really good skill for any shield-based weapon or guarding weapon, particularly if you use the guard. So lances especially, lance and gun lance, but if you like using guard with some of the other ones, like sword and shield or charge blade, still a very good skill. But only 1 pip and a 1 tier deco means this is kind of a bad talisman. Blight resistance and Bludgeoner. We talked about Bludgeoner. Blight resistance is interesting. Each element, when you get hit by them, gives you blights. I'm sure you've noticed. The Thunder Blight, for example, makes you easier to get stunned. The Ice Blight makes your wire bugs recharge slower. Blight resistance makes it so that those don't last as long. Or, if you have all 3, all of the elemental blights are negated, which is actually kind of decent. At least compared to thinking about a singular resistance, because I believe if you get to 20 resistance in a single element, you become immune to that blight. But blight resistance means you don't have to look for that and you can just be immune to blights, which is especially nice against Dragon Blight, because Dragon Blight turns off your elemental damage. So if you're doing an elemental build, being able to not have Dragon Blight is really nice. And Blight resistance can help with that if you know you're running into that, but it's so situational that you don't really want to run it, usually. Recovery speed 2, speed sharpening with good slots. This is usable, especially if you were trying to make a recovery speed type of build. You're gonna have some downtime with sharpening. This will reduce your time doing the sharpening, which is good. And the recovery speed means that you're going to get more of your health back during that time, assuming you have any to recover. This is kind of usable as a quality of life talisman, but there's a lot better stuff to use in most cases. Damn it. Y'all know how I feel about poison attack. The fact that this has Bubbly Dance 2 on it makes it usable, even if you're just ignoring the poison attack. The 2 slots and Bubbly Dance 2 means this can fill up, or this can open up some armor for you pretty easily if you are making a Bubbly Dance Resuscitate build. So this is usable, but it's really unfortunate that that's poison attack and not something a little more universally useful, or a tier 2 slot to make this a Bubbly Dance 3 talisman. Recovery up, windproof, we talked about these. Again, windproof makes it so you won't get interrupted easy using your potions for recovery up, but not a great talisman. Raw attack boost 3. This is okay. If you just need attack boost, no slots makes this not very good, but just raw attack boost 3 is decent. If you are just looking for attack boost and that's what you needed to make your build, this is usable. 3 of them is, like, the fact that it's 3 makes it usable. If it was 2, I would be like, unfortunate. Ballistics 1 with 3 tier 1 slots. Ballistics is a gunner thing, makes it so that your critical distance, your critical range for the best damage out of your moves is lengthened. It's actually very good skill for especially like spread shot builds. But it's only 1 tier, unfortunately. And the 3 tier 1 decoration slots is fine, but you really would have been hoping for a tier 2 out of it. This is kind of unfortunate. Stamina Surge 2 with reloads. This is pretty good for a bow. 2 reload speed gives you the automatic bow coating. You can see loads bow coating automatically at level 2 here. That's good. And Stamina Surge gives you stamina recovery, which is actually very important for the bow because you are using stamina to do your attacks a lot of the time. This is actually a very good talisman for a bow user. The tier 1 slot lets you put a quality of life piece into it. But this is a really good bow talisman in general. Totally usable. Not amazing, but very good. Speed Sharpening 2. Again, nice quality of life, but with a nice attack. Kind of whatever. No slots, not very good overall, but the combo of skills is fine. Horn Maestro Slugger. You know what? These 2 skills combo. Hunting Horn does Slugger damage. If you don't have a better Slugger talisman here, this is totally usable in a Hunting Horn build. Exactly. The tier 2 slot means you can make this a Slugger 2 with Horn Maestro, which is okay. Horn Maestro is a tier 1 decoration though, so it's really easy to slot in kind of no matter what. But this is decent. This is usable. Bombardier we talked about. Counter-Strike I'm not huge on. We talked about. Together, not really a combo. And no slots, so this is a really bad gem, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, Rapid Morph 2 with a tier 2 slot means this can be a Rapid Morph 3 talisman. And Speed Sharpening is just a nice quality of life as a melee user. This is a completely usable talisman. There are better out there, don't get me wrong. But this is very usable. I like this one. Turning this into Rapid Morph 3, this is a very good Switch Axe talisman. I'm gonna keep this one on the deck. Part Breaker Speed Eating with 2 tier 2s. Like, Speed Eating is a good quality of life. Part Breaker is a good quality of life. I like Part Breaker a lot. But, and like 2 tier 2s means this is very flexible. But I don't know what you would make out of it. Like, there's nothing... Like, really, you want a like, tier 2 of something that you're looking for with these slots. I don't know where this is a combo you're looking for with these 2 tier 1s. Normal wrap it up, very good for gunners and bow. Only 1 pip, unfortunately, and 2 tier 1 slots means you can't really make this better, but it's perfectly fine. That is not an easy skill to get. It's easier now in 2.0 because there are gems there's decorations for normal wrap it up now, but this is okay. Hellfire Cloak 2 critical boost. I wish this had a slot on it. This is a decent talisman if you're trying to make a Hellfire Cloak build. The 2 levels of Hellfire Cloak, I think, would open up 2 armor slots for you. Or 2 gear pieces to kind of mix and match however you want, which is good for your Hellfire Cloak build. And critical boost, critical builds in general are usually pretty meta. It's very hard to ever find a build where critical is a bad skill to have. And obviously the higher your critical boost is good because it makes all your criticals do a higher bonus damage. So critical boost is a great skill and not the easiest one to slot in or find on armor either. So this is actually a pretty decent talisman. I really wish it had a slot to make it a little bit better though. Defense boost just gives you better defenses. It's fine, but it's a tier 1 with a lot of levels, so like kind of more of a quality of life than anything, and so is blight resistance. So this is kind of a crappy talisman. Heroics and Fortify. This is actually hilariously an okay combo. Because Heroics gives you the bonuses when you're low health, and Fortify gives you bonuses based on how many times you cart in a hunt. So if you want to run dangerously, this is kind of a funny and good combo, because you run yourself low health for Heroics, and then when you cart, the next time you're running yourself low health for Heroics, you're still more buffed up than the last time. So it kind of keeps buffing you up as you're running this dangerous game, making that dangerous game a little bit less dangerous every time. Like, this is actually an okay combo for a extremely funny and niche skill set you're trying to build. This is pretty funny. I like this a lot. I would never run it. Yes, the Edge of Death combo. I would never run it, but it is actually kind of a hilarious and good together skill set right here. Flinch Free 3 is fine. You never need more than 1. Flinch Free, 1 level, is borderline required for multiplayer as a melee weapon user. But this talisman goes hard into it. No slots. A quality of life buff on the end. It is not usable. Fire Attack 2 with Counter Strike. This is so unfortunate. The slots are good. I don't like the skills. So this isn't really usable. Speed Sharpening Diversion. Maybe, oops. Speed Sharpening Diversion is maybe okay. Diversion is theoretically something you use on like a lance so that a monster focuses on you more. And Speed Sharpening means if you need to sharpen, you can do it easier. Your window of opportunity can be smaller to get that sharpening. So it's an okay combo, but kind of a weird one. On our last one here, this is okay. Sleep Attack is harder to get now because it's a tier 2 gem for a status. If you're doing a Sleep Attack build, this is decent because 2 levels of Sleep Attack is not easy to get, and 1 level of Critical Eye is good in almost any build. So, no slots makes this feel not the best. It could have been better, but if you're trying for a Sleep Attack build, this is very likely a decent talisman for you, because the 1 Critical Eye is just kind of gravy on top to smooth out whatever your build is. So usable, but not great. This is pretty good, but not great. I feel like this one, Rapid Morph and Speed Sharpening, being able to make this a Rapid Morph 3 and Speed Sharpening just being a quality of life thing is very good. And the last one here, the Hellfire Cloak Critical Boost. Again, very good for a very specific kind of build, but pretty good. All in all, not the best draw we've had. I feel like last time we had some better draws overall. But that was decent. We had some decent stuff.